Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
That makes me Kelly. Hey, guys. You might notice the lack of noise as we are recording this because...
Oh, good God.
Boy,
A bunch of people just pulled their headphones off. Thanks. Got to give them a second to put them back on.
And that is because we are sitting in new, comfortable chairs.
It's very, very nice. Like it's just, and it's not even that horrible leather where you pull your leg up and like your leg sticks to it. It's like a suede.
It's a suede.
It's a nice
And
experience.
it was paid for the lovely listeners who have participated in our value for value model. We gotten some money, and I think it was 2 weeks ago that I said, hey, you guys, these fucking chairs are killing me. And Vanessa, who never complains about anything, I said, how do you feel about taking some of that money and getting us some chairs that don't hurt this bad? And you were like, I would not argue against that.
I mean, okay, guys, imagine your grandma's house. All right. Imagine eating dinner at like an overly fancy table and having to sit in very uncomfortable wooden chairs. Now throw a very not useful cushion on that.
Hey, now, I bought those cushions for you guys.
My back is so straight. It's great. I mean, really, but not super comfy.
The chairs were not very comfortable. They were very old and they were very squeaky, as I'm sure you will remember.
Yes.
True.
And now we are sitting in new chairs.
I'm moving in my chair now.
Right?
Yep. I can fidget and you guys can't stop me.
Yes. So thank you so much to everybody. I just wanted to know that money that you have sent along has not gone to us, partying our brains out like I originally wanted. It has gone to more stuff for the podcast. So I hope that everybody understands how we're approaching all of this stuff. It's value for value.
That's right. And along those lines, I'd like to throw thanks to a bunch of people. Jeff, Jamie, Donnie, Ron, I think was all. There might be a couple others. I screwed up on audio last time, and as soon as they said what it was, I knew exactly what I'd done wrong. There's 4 tracks of audio, and 1 track I keep for the repeat things that come up every year, the intros, the exits, and the trailers. I left it muted. So sometimes I have to mute that to edit.
Oh.
And so when I compressed everything, uploaded it, the one time in 100 and some odd friggin' episodes, I didn't just test play the goddamn thing, was this last week. But you guys got that notice to me really quick. So I was able to fix it. And for whatever reason, Spotify took like 8 hours to correct, but everybody else was within minutes, was good to go. So
That's
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I might read snarky or sarcasm, but I really mean that. Thank you. Because we don't want to send out messed up sound.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely let us know if something like that comes up because it is incredibly helpful. I mean, we all listen to it eventually, but not always like the minute it comes out because we experienced it.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
And to be honest, I just fast forward anything that's not my voice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
I'm not surprised.
Hey, Eric, I don't know if you've got it available right now, but somebody left us a message on the YouTube.
Oh, shit.
Somebody left us a message on YouTube?
Yeah, the podcast is available on YouTube, and some people watch it that way.
Okay.
And Eric sent me this message, and I was like, wow, holy cow.
Yeah, I believe I sent that to both of you, didn't I?
You might have. I don't know. You guys send me a lot of stuff. Usually when I'm driving and I'm like, I'll look at this later. And sometimes I do.
Okay. This is the message we received. Kelly, get your eyes checked immediately. Do I have to be calling and scolding? How can you go to Crypticon and not see? I have been listening to the show now since I have YouTube. I enjoy it. The only time I get to hear your voice. Call your mom.
I love that so much. I did see that, yes.
Yeah.
She
So
she listens to it on YouTube.
yes.
That is the most adorable thing ever.
So now that we know that my mom is a regular listener, there's going to have to be a few changes here. Vanessa, no more talk about drugs.
Wait, what?
Eric, you're going to have to drop all of the talk of your mistresses and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And we
Keep it
won't
clean.
be swearing anymore.
Oh, no, that'll never happen.
I like
I
you
already-
actually censored yourself right there. Like, that will never happen.
Well, if I can't censor myself from my mom listening, I don't know that I can do it for yours.
My mom is a saint and very innocent. So
Oh.
you'll be really nice to her. I love you, Mom.
Thank you for
So sweet.
listening.
Yes.
I saw a couple of cool things this week.
Ooh.
You guys are aware that Evil is back on, right? Have you
Oh,
caught up?
yes. That first episode
That was
was
fun.
freaking awesome.
And then the new one is out too, and it's even
watching
better.
that.
God, it's
Oh,
getting
so
so
good.
good. Vanessa, you're awfully quiet over there.
Okay, so yes. So I finally caught up to you guys and watched all the way through what was the end as far as I got with season 2. And then the new one came out and I got really, really excited. And I was like, I want to watch this right away. And my boyfriend was there and he's like, what is this?
Oh no.
I know.
Start from the beginning.
And we did.
Oh, shit.
We're almost at the end of season 1. We're
Yeah.
watching about 3 to 4 a day.
Yep.
And it's a helpful refresher, but I did just blast through some of these. So I was like, wait, is this season 1 still? I just saw this one. So we're getting there, but I'm a little bit on hold.
I did that. That happened with my wife years ago. I got about a season and a half into Buffy. I'm going, I got to show this. She's going to love it. And she did. It's one of her favorite shows ever. But, you know,
Yeah.
watching the first season of Buffy twice is not the best way. Except for 2 or 3 episodes. It's got some rough stuff. man.
Season 1 is not something you want to like back to back rewatch.
No,
But
but-
you know what?
Still good enough.
The things we do for the people we care for, you know? And well, I went to the theater and saw a movie that just came out. I wonder if either of you got a chance to see it because I know with Crypticon things got a little hectic.
True.
Candyman.
Not yet.
No, I haven't.
I have
Okay.
heard almost polar opposites of it. It's fascinating. People seem to love it or really, really hate it.
I am surprised that people love it. I didn't hate it,
Oh, okay.
but there are really big problems with it. And I don't want to spoil anything for you guys because I do think it's worth checking out. And I think it's, of course, really important that we support independent cinema and, you know, people's attempts at, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of good intent in here. And I think there's a lot of good ideas. But I think somewhere along the way, the script just bit it. It like bit it on the curb and lost 5 teeth. Like,
Ouch.
yeah. Yeah.
The second, that artistic trailer that was released, the shadow puppet thing, whatever that was, I thought was so cool that really, I wasn't too interested in it before that. And I saw that, I'm going, okay, this is really inventive and really interesting.
Yeah.
It's probably good that you lowered my expectations now for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that where you're like, whoa, that's so cool. And then it doesn't go anywhere or it disconnects from the story. That is one of those things where it's a great intro piece. And I think they use it in the outro, but I figured out why it existed, but they don't tell you. And they don't give you a good connection as to like who even made it, considering that like the lead person is an artist. So there's just a lot of weird stuff like that. There's a skin rash that develops on the main character, which you see in the trailer. So that's not a spoiler. As the movie progresses, you find out really close to the end that it looks like hexagons. And I was like, oh, it's like he's becoming like a beehive. So you would think maybe there might be a bee that might come out of that. Nope. It's just stuff like that where you're like, you're so close. You're so close for this being amazing, but then it just doesn't go there. So there was I think there was a lot of story issues along the way.
That's a
That'll
bummer.
happen.
I was looking forward to this. I'm still going to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? There are so many people who are loving it that, you know, you guys might go and think that it's incredible and say to me, "Hey, Vanessa, you're completely wrong and you
That never
misjudged it."
happens.
Yeah.
I know, it definitely never happens that I'm the only one who liked or disliked something. No, not at all. You can tell I'm the only person who didn't grow up with y'all. So whatevs. What about you, Eric?
Well, I watched an interesting film
Mm.
that kind of has similar problems called Mosquito State.
Hmm.
Have you seen this? Have you
It's on
seen this?
Shudder.
Yeah.
I want to see it, or do I?
Probably not.
No.
It
Mm.
is incredibly well acted, really interestingly shot, about as art housey as art horror is. It's just pushing the boundaries further of being more and more art housey.
Mm.
The biggest problems it has, though, is the whole thing is this idea of some guy, a real, shall we say, Redditor style guy,
Uh-huh.
who's incredibly wealthy because he's really brilliant at math and horrible socially. I'm trying to connect the dots here. But
You can't even
somehow
explain
he
it.
ends up with breeding mosquitoes in his super wealthy, all cement looking apartment, or whatever you want to call it, condo.
Mm.
And he seems to gain control of them. He has assholes in his life, and he has somebody he cares for in his life. There's no resolution with the assholes.
Mm.
And there is some resolution with the woman he's interested in.
Hmm.
The movie just kind of ends.
Oh,
And I'm
bummer.
like, because so much is done so well in it that it's like, all right, okay.
They like run out of money, or they just ran out of
No,
ideas?
they had whatever money they need. Well,
Mm.
no film ever feels they have enough money,
Mhm.
but it looked really good.
Mm.
And the apartment he was living in was huge. They had access to a very, very expensive place in a big city,
Mm.
or they built it. And
The trailer felt very body horror. Is that not the case?
sort of.
Okay.
I mean, if your body horror and kind of begins and ends with a guy get lots of mosquito bites, so he sort of looks like an elephant man.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, there's no.
You guys, where you think it's
I
going to
guess
go?
I was hoping he was going to turn into a gigantic mosquito.
No. So, well, maybe.
Oh.
The way it ends, it's sort of like he might. I mean, it. Yeah.
Wait, so why is he breeding mosquitoes?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, I don't know.
Okay.
He seems to worship them at one point, or at least one of them. This is the mother of you all. You all came from this. Like,
Okay.
interesting, but I kept
That's
expecting.
not true.
Yeah, I kept expecting it to go somewhere, and it just didn't. So it was,
Oh.
and so much was done so well, but I was like, darn.
No.
Well, I was going to talk about something else, but I will instead then go along on your Shudder thing
Oh,
and say I started watching this thing called Slasher.
Oh yeah, because it's got David Cronenberg in it, right?
Does it?
He's like the lead bad guy for. Is it a season? Like a
Yeah,
season of the
it's a series.
Yeah.
But this was about a family
Yeah.
that has to like do these trials and tribulations, and they're all basically trying to kill each other. And
Okay.
it's a ton of fun. It is
Yeah?
super gory. God, it's
Oof.
gory. And it's on Shudder, so
It's like it's a TV show or a movie,
it is a TV
Oh.
series.
like a limited, like a American Horror Story. They might do a bunch, and then next season will be new
Right.
people.
And
Or
now that I'm thinking about it, I'm
Yeah.
like, that is Cronenberg.
It is
isn't it?
Cronenberg. Yeah, I read an article because I'd never heard of Slasher before, and it was like he's starring in the Shudder role as the patriarch of the family.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was so excited to play something other than like a scientist or a psychologist.
I didn't recognize him because the last time I saw him on film was what? Nightbreed or something like
Oh,
that.
whoa.
And he
Oh,
is
geez.
much older than I
Yes.
realized he was.
He's done a couple of things here and there. He'll pop up in a few like indie projects now and again, but he's always just like a guy with a clipboard.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
This is basically a horror soap opera. It's just a family drama. Everybody kind of hates each other, and then they
Mhm.
start, joining up and saying, okay, look, if you help me out on this, I'll help you out on that, and then we'll just kill, our sister instead. And
Oh
it's
my God.
it's really dark, and it's got some moments of decent humor, but like I said, the gore is outstanding.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm excited to check it out.
Check that one out. Yeah.
Well, it was recently my birthday, and so I was looking for a film to watch on my birthday, and of course, like I have favorites like Happy Death Day to You and Better Off Dead. There's all kinds of films that I love to watch annually, but I was spending the day with my mom and sister,
Mhm.
so I had to kind of rethink the direction because my sister is a very, very proud and conservative religious person.
Ah.
And my mom will kind of go along with things to be nice to me. But I don't think she really wants to watch it. She doesn't go out of her way when I'm not around to watch any of these things.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and put on a film that I'd missed through Disney, which was Cruella.
Oh,
Okay.
now it's streaming free on Disney, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
I didn't have to pay for it. Yes.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm actually really surprised. It was pretty good. I thought they did a really nice rewrite of Cruella. I thought it was just I was like, I don't know how you guys are gonna make this movie when it's a horrific bad guy who wants to she wants to skin dogs and wear them around the place, and she's evil and all, but all these little tropes that you see from the original film and the cartoon are twisted back over to a really sympathetic and different viewpoint of her, and even her minions are actually like friends she grew up with, and the dog thing is almost like a joke. It was actually pretty neat, and Emma Stone is a joy to watch. So
I have such a weird reaction to these stories. Like I started reading Wicked
mhm.
years ago,
Mhm.
and about halfway through, it's like, you know what? I enjoy the fantasy of films where this is good and this is evil.
Right.
Trying to pretend that this two-dimensional character really
Mhm.
is full of these many, many things. Like, okay, whatever. I'd rather a Wolverine kind of character where they do some horrible shit, but they're trying to be better, as opposed
Yeah.
to just flipping them completely and saying, you know what, the Wicked Witch was actually really wonderful. It's all the other people were fucking assholes. And kind of, well,
Interesting.
that just to me reams like you grew up loving this character and now you have to redeem your feelings for loving this character by
Mhm.
no, they're really, really good. Actually, if you look at them right, like Michael Myers killed the bully. You gotta love Michael now, right? So it's like, no, I don't.
That is such a fair analysis. And to the film's credit, the Cruella kind of suffers from this sort of multiple personality thing. So there is a version of her that is just fucked up.
Yeah.
And that is kind of the true version of her. And that is where you end things.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, halfway in, she switches from being this kind of nice person who she's been putting on a facade for everyone around her to try and fit in, to just being like, I don't fucking want to do this anymore, and becomes a horrible, horrible human being, like to the level of the cartoon, and then sort of starts to pull it back near the end. So you can see the glimmer of humanity is back in her. She's not just 100% evil. So I think they tread that line really nicely.
That's cool.
But I don't know. But your point is still taken. Like, it's why make the story at all?
Mhm.
That is a big question mark.
Disney has, found a way to milk
Oh.
every last penny out of all of their properties. So
True.
we're gonna
True.
see, all these kind of spin-offs and this stuff for everything. We'll
Yeah.
find out that who is the evil octopus woman in The Little Mermaid. We're gonna find out she was
Ursula.
Yeah.
Ursula had a hard childhood.
That's right. She has weight issues and
All the
eats her
other
feelings.
all the other cephalopods were making fun of her or something like that.
Makes sense.
Well, it's like the live action remakes. I mean, I read somewhere the Beauty and the Beast live action remake is one of the most successful films Disney has ever released.
It's so bad. I mean, like that and
huge.
Aladdin, they're just and Lion King. I don't understand those where it's literally the exact
that's-
same story.
Yeah. Like, well, they're CGI animated. They're still freaking animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. When they say the live action version, I'm looking at that screen going, there is not one thing that's real on the screen. This is not live action.
The updated animated
Right.
version.
But I did love when they did the Jungle Book remake with,
Yeah.
Christopher Walken.
yeah, and then who directed that? That was,
Somebody big, but I
oh
don't
yeah, Jon
remember.
Favreau.
Yeah,
Oh,
John
okay.
John
Oh, there you
Favreau.
go.
I was like, boy, this is a blast. So, if they wanted to do stuff like that for the older movies, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see Snow White and the Seven Dwarves redone now.
Sure.
Oh, that could be fun and really messed up.
Not
guys.
the way they did it in the 70s. Speaking of what if,
Oh,
Stina and I were catching up on the what ifs, and we started watching the last one with Doctor Strange. And it's like, this is the one Marvel movie I haven't seen.
oh no.
Like, well, let's rectify that right now. So, rewatch the Doctor Strange Marvel film with Cumberbatch, which is still really good.
Sure.
Holds up great.
Mhm.
And then ran immediately into the what if. Man, that's a brutal what if.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah.
Have you watched
shit.
it, Vanessa?
Yeah, and I did the same thing you did. I actually did it in reverse. I watched the what if, and then I was like, wait, he has a girlfriend? And so I was like, I think I should rewatch the movie. I haven't seen it since I saw it in IMAX. And yeah, it was way better than I remembered it.
They nailed it too. I mean, as far as it went right along with the film, watching this.
Yeah.
While I
was
was watching
dark.
that, I was thinking this is going to be the one that Vanessa likes
It
because
is.
it really got into the problems with any of these kind of things if you're going to change this one
Mhm.
little thing. And then I thought it was really interesting how, let's talk little spoilers on this. I thought it was really interesting that the Watcher talks to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I'm starting to think that these episodes are all going to tie together.
Mhm.
And like
Yeah.
you said, Vanessa, at the very end, the Watcher is going to have to intervene somehow.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see these little tiptoes where he's like, oh, I will not intervene in this moment, but I can see. And then this one fully, because Doctor Strange can hear him
Yeah.
because of his connection to the multiverse or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And he's like, hey, you've been here the whole time. Come on, buddy. And the guy's like, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
I think it could lead quite nicely because that thudding you right in the face again and again about the fixed state
Yeah.
in time.
That's got to be something
Yeah.
coming up in the multiverse of
Yeah.
madness. And
Yeah. And Doctor
this-
Strange, I feel like that is a problematic story that they are trying to get head on before they go into Multiverse Madness and Spider-Man
No Way Home.
No Way Home. Like, I feel like they're trying to say, okay, we set up certain rules, but actually these are what these rules mean.
Mm.
And sometimes they're fudgy and sometimes they're strict and sometimes these things happen. So yeah, I don't know. I really feel like I'm being led
Somewhere. Yeah.
somewhere.
It's really a brilliant idea if you want to keep. By the way, Shang-Chi, that's the 25th Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's really a brilliant way to start going. We're talking multiverses now. So if we have to start recasting people because they're tired of being in 10 Marvel
True.
movies,
Mhm.
we can recast them and just say different timeline.
Yeah.
It's so, it was mind blowing enough when they brought out Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah.
to make a Marvel
Yeah.
movie out of, but now they're bringing out the Eternals.
Mm.
I'm just like, geez, man, you guys are super deep cutting.
Yeah. They're
Wow.
going a little wacky. They're going 70s, which
Mhm.
is cool. I can't wait for full Howard the Duck again.
Oh my God. Should they dare? I mean, they did that what if moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was fun.
But I'm saying, look, listen to this. Man-Thing and Howard the Duck in a movie together,
Oh, man.
a buddy cop movie.
Okay. I don't know enough about Man-Thing to be able to respond. I mean, I'm honestly learning about most of these characters as the shows and movies
Yeah.
and everything come out. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to read all of the Wanda related content. And now I'm going to read all of the.
The Disney Channel has a nice feature in it that has all of the Marvel stuff chronologically listed.
Chronologically, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
So
the
so
weird thing.
Yeah, so
smart.
you've got movies that came later, but that's the first movie, like I think Captain America, First
Right.
Avenger or something,
Yep.
and then Captain Marvel, and then where the TV shows are in there too.
Right.
I was like,
That's smart.
I just thought, oh, that's cool, and I just hit to the side to scroll over. I was like, holy shit. It's a long list.
And we've seen it all. We've
Yeah.
spent the hours.
God, I just rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 before Crypticon, and I remember thinking that movie was okay and just loving it this time.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wow.
So getting away from it a little bit made me really enjoy it.
That's how I felt.
Got a little weepy at the end.
Oh,
Sure.
I mean, it's the story about dads.
Mhm.
I definitely cried. So that's definitely one I would need to revisit. But that's how I felt about Doctor Strange. The first time I saw it, I hated Benedict Cumberbatch's accent. And it was the first time I'd heard him do this horrible. I mean, it's not bad. It's just that it sounds like House. It sounds like him doing an impression of House, which is what it literally is. I am sure of it. So I was like, you fucker, you're so fucking talented.
Sorry,
you can't
Mom.
just
Sorry, Mom.
have your fucking accent.
The one thing I remember about Cumberbatch was he was probably, I don't know, maybe one of two that when he was cast, the internet didn't lose their shit and go, this is so stupid. That they cast him and everybody was like, oh, okay.
Well, he's beloved as a
Yeah.
person, so
He
that helps.
is a great actor. And watching it a second time through where I've gotten accustomed to this accent, I was like, this movie is actually really good. And oh my
Yeah.
God, the weird shit is so fucking weird. It was really, high five.
Yeah.
I'll put this out as a devil's advocate moment then, in that how much do we want these amazing actors being tied to Marvel movies instead of going and making different movies that are powerful, something that they can really dig their teeth into, instead of kind of being told, okay, well, this is a Marvel movie, so there's a certain amount of danger.
I think it's hard to say, especially when the people that were known before when they were introduced, not too bad. But some of the people that were introduced to us as Captain America
Sure.
or some of those, they're going to be tough. But you've got, what's his name? From the Star Wars movies, destroys his helmet and goes all one.
Right.
Adam Driver.
Adam
Yeah.
Driver.
Yeah.
And he has disconnected himself quite well. Like he did that divorce movie that got nominated for all those Oscars. and
Marriage
stuff.
Story.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm not
maybe-
saying that it's.
maybe.
I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm saying that when they're tied into, how many movies can an actor make, and if 10 years of your acting career is playing Doctor Strange, that's a lot of movies we don't get that might be, a little more important.
You know what, Kelly? We're in a goddamn pandemic. I don't want to watch fucking Marriage Story right now. I want to watch.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Mom.
I want to watch
Yeah.
some dumb Marvel movie where at least they bring up the things around them to a higher standard because the acting is actually good. So
Yeah.
I'm all for it. And a lot of these people are fitting in side projects. Zendaya, despite doing 3 Spider-Man films, is in a HBO series, Euphoria. A lot of these people are doing tons of side work. So I feel like their commitment, although it might seem like a lot, isn't so much that they're totally prevented. I mean, I've seen several really bad movies by who's the kid who plays Spider-Man now?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland's
Yeah.
been in some awful stuff that he could have just done more Spider-Man, and I would have been much happier.
It's
Man.
a little easier as an actor as opposed to like the directors or the writers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where if you're the director of a Marvel movie, that's your year.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, okay. I have been thoroughly chastised. I appreciate it.
Normally, if we weren't in a pandemic, I would have agreed with you really hard.
Give me the depressing heavy shit.
I need to feel. I don't want to feel anything. I just want to sit back and eat some popcorn and laugh and be entertained.
Noted. How about we take a break? Vanessa can blow some steam off. And when we come back, we're talking back to school, you guys.
Yay!
Ready? Okay. When we say study, you say hall. Study. Hall. Study. Hall. When we say study, you say hall. Study. Hall. Study. Hall. Everything you need to ready, set, go. Back to school.
we're back. Vanessa, this was your topic.
Yeah, well, we're coming up on the school year starting. In fact, I think most schools started this last week. So I thought, why wouldn't we want to go with back to school? So, yeah. So
Rodney Dangerfield, huh?
no, I hate Rodney Dangerfield. And there was a particular movie that I really have wanted to talk about for a while. So this was a great opportunity. So my pick was the 1986 Slaughter High.
Marty Ranson was the dork of Doddsville High.
You get undressed in there.
His classmates laughed at him.
Are you ready?
Here's Marty.
They tormented him. And then they went too far. Now, 5 years later, Marty's throwing a little party.
Lights on.
A class reunion.
Come on, you guys, let's party.
They say he still roams the nut house, ever hopeful of that chance to escape, so he can take his evil revenge out on us all.
And he's making sure everyone has the time of their life.
I feel sick.
He's created a romantic atmosphere for rekindling old flames. And a nice place to just hang around. Marty hasn't forgotten a thing. He's giving them a blast from the past they'll never forget. Marty Ranson is still a dork, but tonight he's getting even. Vestron Pictures presents Slaughter High.
AKA April Fool's Day. Now, it was called April Fool's Day, and all through production, it was called April Fool's Day until they found out that Paramount Pictures was also putting out a film that same year with that same title. And they decided, you know what? Let's change it to Slaughter High.
Huh, okay. I think I've seen this.
Sounds familiar, but I'm not sure either.
Yeah, you might have Jester Head, Jester Mask.
What'd you call me?
What? Okay. Well, moving right along. Unfortunately, this isn't free anywhere. I originally watched it on YouTube because no one cared. And I guess somebody started to care. So now it's a $4 rental pretty much anywhere. But you can buy it probably on Amazon for about $12. So just if you already love it. Rotten Tomatoes, 0% critics.
Oh no, an actual 0%?
Actual 0%.
No.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was 5 reviews.
But
So
still.
yeah, 5 people gave it 0%. 34% for audience, and that had over 2,500 reviews. So maybe a little bit more accurate, maybe. The budget for this movie was $2.1 million, and the box office, as far as I could find, made $90,000 during a 2-week stint in April. So I have no idea how much it ended up with, but I know it made at least $90,000. So good job, guys.
Cool.
The director and writers. So this is a D, E, F level horror film. Maybe not F. It's watchable, but it does not have the quality that you might expect from anything normally.
Is this a release you see Vinegar Syndrome doing at some point?
It
Is that what you mean?
actually, you know what? Vinegar Syndrome would be a great place for
Okay.
this, for sure, especially if they did like a whole behind the scenes thing, because there's some wacky stuff. The writer and directors, I say writer and directors because all 3 of these people both wrote and directed, and are listed as such. George Dugdale, 2 films under his belt, this and a movie called Living Doll. Mark Ezra, who's written 8 things and directed 4 things. He wrote Love Potion, Blind Justice, Living Doll, and the Dark Knight TV series. And then Peter Mackenzie Litton, who's done 3 things, including Heaven's a Drag, Living Doll, and Slaughter High. So everybody kind of worked on this Living Doll thing, I think, after this movie, and not a ton of experience going on. However, let me tell you the talent that does exist here. The composer, Harry Manfredini, which you guys would have heard of before. He's done 195 things, including all the Friday the 13th stuff. Also Omega Code, House 2, House 4, The Children, Swamp Thing, Hills Have Eyes Part 2, My Boyfriend's Back, Wishmaster, Deep Star 6. So the music is actually pretty fun. Although I say that, there is a song that is played over and over and over. And it's like got little shout out sections where it's like, April Fools, gonna trick you. Like, it just kind of comes in and out as the movie's going. You're like, okay, we're doing this again. And it always starts with the same riff and it's really distinct. And you're like, oh, we're looping again. I don't know that Harry put a lot of time into this. And from what I read, he actually did steal a lot of Friday the 13th music and just kind of shoved it in here. So I'm guessing he probably wasn't getting paid much. It is starring, now the big name for this is Caroline Monroe.
Oh.
Yes. Which she was a Hammer girl for a lot of her time. She did just a ton of modeling, and she was also a Bond girl. Otherwise, you might have seen her from Maniac, Dracula AD 1972, Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, Star Crash, Black Cat. So many, many films, many projects, and she is good. Then we've got Simon Scudamore as Marty, the nerd and villain, maybe. This is his one and only film.
Aww.
It does kind of show. Gary Martin as Joe. He is just one of some of the teens. All of them, I could not tell you who is who. They are so interchangeable. And like, there's no character development and then an assumption of a lot of character development. So if you ask me like which one's which, I'm like, I don't know. The girl with the puffy shirt? Not sure. So one of them has been in 113 things, including a lot of voice work. He did Mr. Bean's animated series, Legend of Dragon, Final Fantasy 12, Dennis the Menace, and many more. Then we have a couple of randos, like Mark Smith as the coach, who is in Whoops Apocalypse, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the 81 version. Moonraker, he was a voice. Space 1999, he was the voice of the computer. Seventh Seal was his first one. So I'm guessing he has a Scandinavian backdrop. He was in Blade Runner as a voice, Hardware as a voice. So he's a really good voice actor, but he plays the coach in this and actually pretty talented. And last but not least, we also have a sleazy kind of porn producer guy in this who's played by Dick Randell. And you might be like, why does that name sound familiar? At least not in the acting world. He is a super fucking colorful producer. He made a lot of porn, but he also was behind Pieces, Emmanuel 3, Escape from Women's Prison, Don't Open Till Christmas, and surprise, surprise, Living Doll. So he's very, very prolific producer. So I think he was like, oh, can I be like literally who I am, but on film? And they made it happen for him.
Oh.
All right, tagline. You know you're working with quality when you've got taglines like Marty was for the Doddsville High. No, sorry. Marty was the dork of Doddsville High. One day he got mad, then he got even.
Well, there you go.
Very good. The better one is there's horror in the halls, lynching in the lunchroom, murder in metal shop. They're all
That's
equally
pretty good.
Yeah.
Just yeah. The plot of this. So very, very typical teen horror film, high school. Marty is about to get laid. Absolutely. This nerdy kid with glasses and a really nasally voice who is clearly has not showered in a long time, is definitely about to get laid by the super hot Bond girl who is holding his hand and leading him into the girls' locker room.
Oh,
he's definitely going to get laid. So instead, she leads him into a shower stall and tells him to get ready, and he gets his really weird condom out with like bizarre, like one-sided ridges that are like 3 inches high. It looks like, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
do
Ribbed. For her pleasure.
Yes, very, very ribbed for somebody. It's really bizarre. So he's getting ready and he's like, do you want the temperature hot or cold? And she's like, room temperature. It's just
Sexy.
Lukewarm is the sexiest of all temperatures.
I like it comfortable. And meanwhile, a bunch of kids pile into the bathroom, and some of them have like studio lights, and some of them have a camera, and some of them have recording equipment. And what is going to happen? One of them is holding like a javelin pole. It's very weird. Oh, and another is holding a car battery charger.
This all seems very dangerous in the showers.
It does seem kind of dangerous in the showers. So lo and behold, he opens the curtain. He's ready for her. He's completely naked. So we do see everything. And they are filming him and laughing at him. And then they turn him upside down and give him a swirly in the toilet bowl, fully naked. And the dudes are just like holding him, like, ha 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 ha. His wang is like just moving right by their heads. I'm like, this is very strange. They electrocute him.
Oh my.
Yeah, it gets weird. They start like beating him with the javelin stick. It's very strange. And then, of course, the coach comes in and he's like, what are you kids doing in the ladies' locker room? You're all detentioned. And Marty's like, yeah, they really interrupted me about to have sex. It really sucks.
He still thinks he was going to have sex.
100%.
Okay.
Does not understand that he was just led into this. Considering he's a super smart guy, it's a very strange moment. So, of course, all the kids are in detention. They're doing their laps and their push-ups and all that kind of stuff. And one of them slips away and runs into Marty in the halls. And he goes, here's a joint, dude. Enjoy. And Marty goes, thanks. And Marty starts to smoke the joint. And then Marty's like, I got to puke. And he goes to puke. And so the kid sneaks into the chemistry lab where Marty is working on some kind of project and puts in some white substance into whatever it is he's working on. And this means something somehow, I guess. And then he disappears and Marty goes back in. And I guess the experiment goes wrong. And then a flame appears, and then a giant thing of like chemical falls off of a high shelf nitric acid and falls and breaks on him, and then the fire completely engulfs him, and he's completely burned. Does not die though. Is carted off on a stretcher. So we have a hint of things to come.
I love keeping my highly caustic materials high above everybody's
on
head.
A really rickety shelf. He puts it back up too. I mean, I was kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen. He put the lid on pretty tight, but we keep doing these shots of this bottle like wobbling. I don't know where this is going. So I guess they somehow knew that while they were in detention, if they gave him a bad weed stick, he would have to go and throw up, and they would have opportunity to mess up his experiment that they definitely knew he was doing at all. There's a lot of assumptions happening in this movie. Anyway, years later, hot Bond girl is super hot, and she is on the phone to her producer, the gross porn producer, and she says, no, I'm not going to do this porn gig. And he's like, well, you do pictures naked. What's the difference? And so she says, I'd rather go to my high school reunion. Cut to bunch of kids getting ready and going to their high school reunion. They have one of them has car trouble on the way. He's the prankster. We wouldn't know this except for they say, you were the prankster. So apparently that answers that. He is kind of our main character. I honestly don't remember his name. I think it was like either Simon or Skip or whatever. It really doesn't matter. And they all meet up at the high school, and it's in total ruins. It looks surprisingly like maybe an English mansion and maybe not like a high school. Very weird. I don't know why. All the actors, by the way, are the same, but they're just in new costumes. Most of them are in their 30s. And all of them are hiding very bad English accents.
Oh.
Let's make this very clear.
Oh, wow.
Yes, they are. I'm sorry. Their English accents are probably perfect. Their American accents are very, very bad. One of the girls has a Southern accent for apparently no reason whatsoever, except for it turns out she is literally the only American on set. So the level of acting is super high bar here. Anyways, they get to the school. It's this weird overgrown estate that definitely doesn't look at all like an American high school. No one else is there, and they're like, huh, weird. It's strange that only us were invited to this reunion or are coming. How odd. Uh-oh, looks like it's gonna rain. I guess we have to go inside. As it turns out, today is April Fool's Day. Oh, and the other thing happened on April Fool's Day too, just so you know. Sorry about that. I missed that. It was the last thing you see. They tear off a little calendar thing and they're like, haha, it was April Fool's Day. Therefore, makes sense.
Pranks don't count.
Pranks don't count because it's fine on April Fool's Day. So, of course, they get into the school. There's a special room set up with a big welcome sign. There's food and drinks, and there's pictures of them from high school, and there's their lockers in this room. And weirdly, like objects each of them lost in high school are inside this locker. And they're like, I lost these shoes. I lost this bandana. Weird. Oh, my lucky basketball or whatever.
So I was going to say, most high school reunions don't actually happen at the high school. That's why it was happening at this mansion. But you're telling me they went to school in this mansion?
Correct. 100%.
There you
Oh,
go.
yes. No, this mansion, I mean, high school is pretty spectacular. Like they go into one of the rooms to like hang out, and it's got like totally wooden mahogany like walls, and one of them opens to like a door that goes to kind of nowhere. It's like, okay, I don't know of any high schools that have like mansion style mahogany walls. And then there's like a girl goes into the girls' shower room at one point, and there's a bathtub, and she takes a bath. There's like a bedroom. There's like,
Okay.
the space is very spectacular in this film. So, of course, people start to dwindle away in spectacular deaths. Weird how that happens. There's a guy running around in a jester mask, and he seems to be offing them, and it's April Fool's Day. But the one person who isn't there is Marty, but he has a picture up in the welcome banner room as well. I wonder who the bad guy might be. The deaths are pretty fun. There's a lot of neat things going on in there. There's a girl who gets boiled away in chemicals, and she just ends up being like bones and like and blood in the bath. So that's pretty neat. There's a guy who's trying to fix. They realize they need to get out of there, but they don't know where this jester is and how they're going to escape. And one guy's like, "Okay, I'm going to start this tractor." By the way, the tractor's not a tractor, it's a lawnmower. But I guess you wouldn't know that if you were in England at the time. So they lift up the lawnmower because they're going to ride it to safety. And the guy's trying to fix it so that they can get out of there. And of course, the blade starts spinning. And he's like, yo, Todd, why'd you turn this on, man? And he's like, don't. What are you doing? And somebody slashes his wrist and he's holding it above him. And then it just goes and chunks out his whole belly. There's some fun stuff going on in here.
Sounds like it.
But the logic is incredibly lost all the way through. Hey, well, we just have to make it till noon the next day because that's when April Fool's Day ends. And he's followed the rules so far. And you're like, wait, what? What? April Fool's Day ends at noon and then he's going to stop, I guess. And you have to make it to midday. And what are you guys talking? And what rules? What rules are there to April Fool's Day? Very English tradition, apparently. And if you make a fool or do a April Fool's Day thing after noon the next day, I guess that would be the first.
Like April 2nd?
Second. Yeah, I think it's maybe April 2nd. I don't know how this works. I did not ever
Don't feed them
experience
after
this.
midnight.
You become the fool, and I don't know if the jester mask is a thing that people wear out of like, haha, you messed up, and now you are the one who, I don't know. I do not know. But anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and skip right on to the end here because it takes a real twist. He manages to kill everybody one by one until, of course, we just have the final girl, the Bond girl left. And he kills her appropriately in the shower with the javelin stick, just pokes it right through her belly, and she's dead. And then all of a sudden he starts hearing laughter, and he turns, and there's this strange kind of apparition happening, and all of the people that he just murdered who were bullies have come back from the dead as ghosts to bully him again. And he's like, oh no. And then he wakes up and he's in a hospital in a burn ward, and I think it's high school time. I don't know when this is.
All this took place, and this was a Jacob's Ladder moment. That's what you're telling me.
I think, but it gets even more complex because he's got his face in bandages, and the nurse is coming in to give him some pain meds. And all of a sudden a light goes off outside his room, and the doctor kind of saunters in like, oh, I guess I should care about this red light. And goes in, and the nurse is standing over this body, and he's like, what is it, nurse? And the nurse turns around, and it's the guy with the bandages, and he's holding the needle, and he chucks it in the doctor's eye, and then he laughs and he pulls off his own face. So it's kind of like, is this the start of the film? Because it feels like it's the start of the film. So he's going to do the thing he just did, or I don't really know what happened. I'm a little lost.
All right.
That's good writing.
It's pretty
wait.
excellent. This is an incredibly bad movie, but this is like the third time I've seen it. So the entertaining levels throughout this are pretty fucking great. The ghosts are pretty neat. There's like a lot of fog that comes out of nowhere that you guys know how much I love fog, and that's just spectacular. I felt like the deaths are really inventive, considering there's like one guy who chugs a beer because of course there's food and beer left out, and all of a sudden his stomach starts rumbling, and then it just explodes with like the guts falling out. Like, I'm like, that's actually pretty fucking neat.
Juicy.
The guy who plays, Skip, I did write it down, the prankster, was actually pretty decent. He was probably the second best actor next to the Bond girl, but unfortunately he only did 4 things between 86 and 88, and now he's a painting and drawing instructor in LA County High School for the Arts. So he's moved on with his life. The bad things, I think I went over them.
Yeah. So you hit on
Incomprehensible story.
Yeah, the incomprehensible story, the accents being really, really weird, the age being completely off for everybody in there, the setup making absolutely no sense whatsoever, people knowing things they shouldn't know, including like, I feel like for the deaths that did happen in the definitely not mansion or whatever giant English building at the end, he must have set up a kind of trick on every object in the building, because how the people reach the things they get to that they die. Like, one couple runs off and has sex, and the girl is orgasming, so she grabs the bars behind her of the bed and gets electrocuted. I'm like, to know that that was going to happen is really complex, and that you set this up ahead of, I mean, bravo, sir. I can only imagine this entire place is just riddled.
Hold on now. If this is all a dream, though, then you got to throw all that shit out and go,
know.
hey, I'm just dreaming about it.
I know.
Yeah.
That is a really good point. And at one point, he does fall a very long way and then gets up and starts running. And I was like, that makes sense if he's dreaming for sure. So this film was filmed in London and Surrey, unsurprisingly. It had an English cast. The actress playing Stella was actually Southern, but it was so bad that people mistook her accent, mistook her for doing an accent. Caroline Monroe was 35 at the time of playing this.
Oh, wow.
Little sad piece of trivia. Simon Scudmore, who played Marty, the nerd / villain, actually committed suicide by drug overdose on November 21st, 1984, shortly after production ended and before it hit theaters. It was his only film. The writer and directors George and Peter later said that they were both worried that working on the film may have contributed to his suicide. However, at his funeral, his mother told them that her son had been dealing with depression, and one of the main sources of joy that he derived towards the end of his life was going to work on this film. So it's kind of neat. When they needed pickups for Simon, for Simon's character Marty, Mark Ezra, one of the writers and directors, took over and went ahead and donned the mask and did all the pickups himself. So he didn't make anyone perform that. The interior of the high school was a condemned grammar school, which it does not look like it, by the way, set to be demolished. Lockers had to be added since English schools rarely have lockers, but the filmmakers were permitted to set off explosives and set the building on fire since it was scheduled to be demolished anyway. The exterior of the high school was shot at an abandoned mental asylum, which explains all the beds, which has since been renovated and turned into a luxury apartment building. The exterior was also used.
There's a movie right there.
Right. That place is not haunted, I guarantee.
Everywhere in England is haunted. It's fine. The like freaking Sainsbury's grocery store is haunted. The exterior was also used in an Adam Ant music video, Goody Two Shoes.
Yes.
In which
that one.
Carolyn Monroe also makes an appearance. Carol's overlong chase scene towards the end of the film. So we have like the Bond girl running for a very, very, very long time near the end where you're like, how's there still half an hour left in this movie? Like nothing else is going to happen. It was added during filming when the directors realized that their 90-page script would only come to about 75 minutes of film. So the sequence was largely improvised on the spot. I will say beautiful moments in there where she walks slowly from place to place in heels and is chased by someone running after her. But every time she enters a room, it takes him like 5 minutes to get there, even if he was literally right behind her a moment ago. I'm like, ooh, this is exciting. Maybe it's that dream logic again. Who knows?
There you go.
Shooting was actually stopped one day by the American Secret Service. One of the pyrotechnics alarmed the Secret Service who were nearby on security detail for President Ronald Reagan, who was visiting England at the time.
Wild.
Also, a final piece of trivia, the poster for Pieces is visible on the movie manager's office wall when he's talking to Carol over the phone. So,
sell it wherever you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this was a film I've wanted to talk about for a long time because it's really fucking bizarre and a strange experience to watch. I definitely recommend checking it out.
Nice. But
it will make no sense.
Slaughter High.
I've never watched a movie that doesn't make any sense. What the hell are you talking about?
I remember the poster for this. This is the cheerleader skeleton, right?
Yeah, it's a skeleton actually wearing, I think, a cap and gown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I
could
think
be more than one. I know
there might be.
I know the one you're talking about. There are more than one poster.
Maybe it was Return to Slaughter High.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, if there's that movie, I need to see it.
I think I'll dive in for the next one because I have a feeling yours is going to be more interesting than mine.
Oh, way to excite the audience.
That's right. This is actually better than I was expecting it to be because this actually is a Vinegar Syndrome release.
Ooh.
2 names, The Lamp or The Outing.
Since the beginning of time, man has been fascinated by the mysterious, the unexplained, the unknown. Consider, if you will, the legend of the lamp.
Looks like something out of Arabian Nights. Oh, is it okay if I open it?
No, honey, I wish you wouldn't. But think twice before you make a wish.
One thing, though, about the warning on the inscription.
What's that?
The former owner should have read it.
You've uncovered another King Tut's curse, huh? For within it lurks the unleashed power of death and destruction. It can take any form. Strike any time. Anywhere. Alex knows.
I don't think I like this.
Quit worrying. You will before the night's over.
And soon her friends will too.
I miss you've got to send to Miss Wallace.
What's the matter? Afraid?
That there is no way on Earth.
Something's wrong.
To put an end to the terror.
What can you do?
Got to be an answer here.
But what is it? This can't be happening.
The lamp. Make a wish, if you dare.
From 1987.
I feel like The Lamp is a better name.
That's the one that they went with for their main cover.
I'm very glad.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. No Rotten Tomatoes score. I mean, no critics' reviews. 21 from the audience. And budget is estimated about $2 million with a box office of 1.08.
Ouch.
Yep. This was directed by Tom DeLay. This is the only film he has directed. He's done some producing and some other stuff. Apparently, he was like a go-to producer in Texas for a few years when this was made. Let's see. Written by Warren Shaney, who's written Into the Spider's Web and no, not that one, Behind the Mask. And a movie called Haunted, which is also not the one you're going to think of. Stars Deborah Winters, who was in The Winds of War, Crisis in Sun Valley, The People Next Door. James Houston, not Houston, Houston. The Life of David Gale and Powder, and Spencer for Hire.
Powder.
Yes, that's a fun one, huh? Andre Saint Ivanly, only film that she's done. She plays the lead woman in this one. Let's see. This starts with the credits that run along an old boat in the 1800s looking era boat where sort of a reveal to set up what the lamp has come from and things. It's a bunch of dead bodies and stuff. Looks good enough. Looks well. It's well shot, well done. Then we go back to the present, where we've got 3 delinquent types who are going to rob a house. Loud, stupid thieves. They are. And they show up trying to steal the lamp, and they've got this weird sort of mansion that looks like relatively clean, except one room is sort of hoarders looking, and that's the room they're in, throwing shit around and doing all that and waking up the lady upstairs. And your first thought is, oh, they're just gonna run up and she's gonna be badass. Well, no, she's actually the protector of the lamp.
Oh,
so when they kill her, bad things happen.
Oh.
And so this is the opportunity it's an 80s movie, so let's figure out how we can get some nudity into it. So the bracelet drops. He kills the woman quite violently. A bracelet drops off of her wrist. One guy continues to look for stuff to steal while the other 2 go out and find a pool. Like, you going to swim in that? And they do. This part of the movie, the genie is portrayed by a giant green fog. Sort of reminded me of Saturday the 14th for some reason. And of course, thus ends the saga of the 3 thieves.
Are you saying the lamp has dire consequences for them having gotten it?
Very quickly. Very quickly. Unlike anybody else who comes in contact with the lamp for a while. So next morning, the lead detectives show up and, this outfit screams 80s so wonderfully. One of the lead detectives is white pants, white jacket, and I think it is either pink or light blue shirt. I'm like, really?
That's just like the cop uniform for the 80s.
That's right. Well, after one point.
Yeah.
They set up, they do a setup that pays off, but it's such a really bad setup, and the payoff is so corny. But it's fun. But the daughter and her dad get into this. They come in, hey, how you doing? Hey. And then like within 30 seconds, like, I went there. It's like, good Lord. And she says, someday I wish you would die.
Ooh.
You can see where that might lead. Genies. Well, actually, it's a djinn. It's not a genie. They refer to it as a djinn. Then like within 30 seconds later, like, hey, why don't we go out, have lunch together? Everything's good. Oh, Dad. Like, wow. That's some directing. Then, of course, for some reason, they run into her and her boyfriend go out, and some guy her ex decides he's going to like ram the car they're in 3 or 4 times. And of course, this being a low budget movie, when they both get out of the car and confront each other, there is no damage to either car. Like, might have tried a little harder. And this guy is asshole perfect for the 80s. He's got his sleeves cut off. He's wearing a tie with a button-down shirt. His sleeves are hemmed. It's not even rag. It's like, yeah. It's a little rough where he attacks his girlfriend in the halls, but then the lead female teacher shows up and beats the crap out of the guy. So it's like, oh, that was nice. Well done, with some really weird moves. I'm going, I don't think you could pull that off in real life, but it looked cool. So her father works at the museum. What interesting things did the museum just acquire from this old lady's house? So they're going on a field trip to the museum, and a bunch of them decide, hey, why don't we spend the night in the museum? Of course, the daughter's against that initially until she gets possessed. I don't know if I closed my eyes, fell asleep, or went to the bathroom, something, forgot to pause during the scene. I don't know how she got possessed, but she gets possessed.
Wonderful.
And seems to not know anything about the lamp or anything like that at that point. But I don't know. All right, what you going to do? Funny, weird ad that's kind of interesting is the night security guard, as he's wandering around, sings opera. Quite well, too.
That's really nice. That's a good change of pace.
So, the djinn has passed on. He's let Eve go, but she's still fine with them all staying there, and they're just hanging out in the basement. It's like, okay. Now, of course, it's time to separate all the couples into small killable groups. Because one lady shakes a beer up or something and spills beer all over herself, so she loses her shit and has to immediately take a bath.
This is like a running theme.
Sexy.
That's right. There's only one bath in the place, and it's, you got to go there, and she goes there and gets attacked by cobras.
What?
Cobras. All right.
Did somebody wish for the cobras?
No, nobody else. There's really no other wishes made. It's just sort of, for some reason, the djinn starts attacking people.
I don't know enough about djinns to argue this.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know if the people who wrote the movie do either.
Big fan of gin and tonic.
Hey.
Thank you. I'll show myself out.
Yes. There's it takes a really dark turn with kind of an attempted rape scene, but that does lead to the most violent death in the movie of one of the guys who attacked the woman. They don't complete the rape. They kill the two guys, and the woman disappears from the rest of the movie. You never know what happens to her after that scene. She's seemingly fine. I mean, physically still alive and stuff, but you're like, what happened to her? So, and I thought that going through the movie, so I went back and there's audio commentary. It's like, well, whoever was on the audio commentary goes, and now we'll never see her again. Okay, so you guys didn't know what was going on. The djinn shows up at the end, huge. I was like, first time thought it was a stop motion thing. Then I watched some of the making of and listened to some of the commentary, and it's an actual thing they built that was like 10 feet tall.
Wow.
And had a giant base that they rolled around. But the voice, poor choices on the voice, because it's what was that? Say that again. That's the movie. It's pretty straightforward. It's a slasher style thing with just an interesting idea. Although there was some interesting making of stuff. So some of the trivia notes are quite good. From first pitch meeting to finish film was 6 months.
Wow.
Like, damn. Especially for a low budget something. That's incredible. That included writing the script.
Well.
Which.
That doesn't sound that surprising.
Yeah, that makes the whole thing.
Pieces are really coming together here,
Yeah,
Eric.
there you go. But the acting is actually pretty good. It's on par, better than what you would expect for a film like this. Apparently, there was a fair amount of time spent casting. They wanted to get a good cast.
But not for the genie.
Because he had worked on he said a big budget Hollywood production he produced. And I looked up and I really couldn't know what it might have been. I mean, he had a couple production things before that, but nothing goes, oh, big budget. So maybe it was a $10 million budget, which is big.
Sure. In 86?
Yeah. Let's see. The original UK release did not have that ship in it for some reason. They cut the opening credit scene with the ship out. And 14 seconds of the rape scene, which I read that going, 14 seconds, how much it would have made a big difference. It's a very fast scene. I was like, okay, yeah, I can see what you cut out there. It was released in the UK and Australia as The Lamp, and most of the rest of the world as The Outing.
So now, listening to the story you just told me, how does The Outing work as a title at all?
Apparently, and you can, if I read this right or wrong, you can verify, it's a different word used for going on a field trip. Let's see, one of the few movies about a killer genie, and as a djinn, there's just not a lot of those out there.
Is that your piece of trivia?
Apparently, I was wrong on the gin. It was a giant puppet with a rolling cart that was over 15 feet tall.
Whoa.
So it was huge.
That's pretty fun.
There was a guy in the same room where the lady got killed by a cobra. Her boyfriend gets attacked and gets cut in half. And he's doing the special effects. They put the actor in halfway in, do all the guts around him and stuff like that, and then break for lunch.
Oh no!
All right.
That sucks.
So they just let him sit there for a while. I was like, yeah, I was in the floor for about, I think he said about 4 hours or 4 or 5 hours, just sitting there.
Oh.
The watching the documentary was actually very fun because you had the director, unfortunately died in 2014, I believe. But you had the producers, one of the lead actors who was also a producer. They were a married couple at the time and are still married, and a bunch of the actors came back. And it's so much fun watching people say, yeah, I know I made this shit movie 30 years ago, but here I am sitting in this studio getting interviewed about this movie I made so long ago that nobody gave a shit about. So that actually made me like the movie a little bit more.
Sure.
Because okay, that's cool. It was filmed in Houston, Galveston, and Los Angeles for some reason. Body count of 17 people. Richard Harrington of the Washington Post said it was stupid and senseless, and the special effects look as if they were shot on a family's weekly shopping budget. Los Angeles Times criticized the depiction of evil in the film, saying that it existed merely to terrorize children without motive. I don't know what that means. The lead, Andrea, went interesting. She went on to write a book. She became a writer. She never had any interest necessarily in acting. Gave it a shot, didn't like it. So she went off, became a writer. You can buy her book on Amazon, The Academy. Her bio on Amazon does not mention this movie, but then she is in the documentary. So she's not disavowed on it at all. And she's also a delight. She's so sweet and nice, and everybody on the commentary is like, so it was fun. The movie, the Vinegar Syndrome experience, I guess you'd call it, was far more enjoyable than the movie itself. The movie is good, and then everything else, like, oh, you made this so much better than it was.
I feel like that's always the case. Well, not always. That's often.
Not always. Like where you've got the worst movie ever made, the worst best movie ever made, where they show the director who thought Troll 2 was actually a really good movie,
Right.
and finds out what the feeling of it really is and is hurt by it.
Right.
Like, oh God. So, but that was mine.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I think I got the winner here.
I'm so excited.
I didn't even know this was going to be my pick until halfway through.
Well, you were talking about your movie, Kelly. That I know.
No, I picked from 1984, Savage Streets.
It started off as an innocent prank that erupted in savage violence.
I'm gonna kill him! I'm gonna kill him!
Look at that, Jake. You think she had fun when she filled her car with garbage, huh?
Shut up, Red.
What are you gonna do about it?
All right, girls.
Girl, what you yelling for? Heather's deaf. Hey, Brenda, isn't this Heather's stuff? Oh, my God, Brenda!
Oh, I'm sorry about your sister, Brenda. The police are doing everything they can. But she shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Charlene, I love her so much. What am I gonna do if Heather dies?
meet you guys at the top. Sure you're not gonna hurt her, right, Jake? Isn't that what I said?
No, Jake! Brenda, you can't take the whole world on by yourself. You don't know anything.
Justice for all. Justice for all. You get what you give when you broken the law.
For God's sake. It wasn't my fault.
Hey.
What is it?
Wait a minute, man. I don't like it. Something's weird.
What's the matter, boys? Lose your nerve? What a shame.
We're gonna play a little game, baby. Hey, Red! Red!
Oh, yeah.
She came loaded for bear. No!
Oh, my. I missed. And I just so want to see you bleed to death.
You paid for your crime. Your judgment will stand. My back's to the wall. It's out of my head.
Come for you, Brenda.
Baby. Linda Blair in savage streets, where the only law is an eye for an eye.
Quite a time frame grouping we've got going
Yeah,
here.
yeah, interesting. Budget of $1.2 million. No information on the box office, and I looked everywhere. Rotten Tomatoes, also, the critics did not have any kind of ratings, but the audience has it at 53%. This was directed by Danny Steinman, who directed High Rise, not the cool one from 2014, but the 70s version. The Unseen, he also did Friday the 13th 5, A New Beginning.
Ooh.
And it was written by Danny Steinman and Norman Yonemoto, who wrote Getting Down and Made in Hollywood.
Ooh.
Which which look like they're pretty trashy 70s, 80s movies, which fits in with this. This is some cinema trash here. It stars Linda Blair. You would know her from The Exorcist, of course, Hell Night, Chained Heat, a bunch of other bad movies.
Yeah.
Linnea Quigley, who has 171 credits, including Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Demons, and Silent Night, Deadly Night. It also stars Robert Dreyer, who's done a ton of TV from the 80s. MacGyver, Murder, She Wrote, Quantum Leap, TJ Hooker, Knight Rider, all those kind of shows. And then John Vernon, 202 credits, including, I didn't know this, the voice of Tony Stark in the 1960s Iron Man cartoon.
Oh, wow.
He was also in Dirty Harry, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but will most probably be remembered as Dean Wormer in National Lampoon's Animal House. So, Savage Streets. Have you guys seen this movie?
I don't think so.
It is streaming on Tubi, Ron. So you're going to want to check this out. This is something else. It opens with a gang of punks called the Scars, who are cruising the streets at night. And this is all while the credits are rolling and everything. They're causing general havoc and bullshit. And it is intercut with Linda Blair, who plays Brenda. Her gang of girls, called the Satins, who are walking down the streets, and they are a bunch of tough ass bitches that are turning down men who are catcalling them and all this stuff. They're dressed in leather and spandex. They've got huge hair and headbands and shit, all except for Brenda's little sister Heather, who is Leanna Quigley, who is a deaf mute and extremely innocent somehow with this group of girls.
Why is she there?
She's her little sister, and she's very protective of her.
She formed the gang just to protect her sister.
So at one point, as they're walking, they almost get run over by the car the Scars are driving. And there's a general amount of catcalling and everybody, all the guys hitting on the girls and everything, which they all kind of blow off until one of the guys hits on Heather, the little sister. And Brenda goes all out bitch mode on the dudes, is like threatening them, all this shit. You know, I'll kill you. You talk to my sister that way, all this stuff. So the guys drive off and the girls continue on their way, but at some point the Satins see the car empty on the edge of the road, so they decide to steal it to show those bastards. So they steal it with the guys coming running after them as there's like 6 or 7 girls in the car. Woo! all these very angry 1984-ish punks, like no punk has ever looked except for in a movie. And they're all chasing them and everything. When the Scars finally find the car again, the girls have absolutely trashed it, and they of course vow revenge. And I mean, I'm like, how did they manage to do this? They've dumped like a dumpster's worth of garbage into it.
Oh my God.
I am enjoying the fuck out of this trashy film already, right? So imagine my surprise when it shifts and we see the girls are in high school now. And I was like, wait a second, what? There's nobody in here that's younger than 27. So this is a high school movie? And they're in their school classes. They're arguing with other students and the teachers. In fact, Brenda is so badass that she just smokes in class.
Oh, sure.
So that's how you know that she's, talking to the teachers. She'll light up a smoke and everything. And at one point, they're off doing their gym class. I guess they're doing like aerobics and shit, which is just an excuse to get them in spandex and bending over and all that. So in a different part of the school, the Scars have shown up. They're not in school. Well, one of them is. He's a student there, but they're there to get some money from a particular kid who owes them money. And as they're harassing this kid, the principal shows up, this Vernon Wells. And he starts berating the kids. And here's where it gets weird. This is where we were as a society, because the principal calls the gang members a bunch of faggots and he wants them out of his school.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wow, okay.
There was a moment like that in mine as well, where I was like, what? Okay.
But it's one thing to see like the students calling each other something like that. Completely different for the principal to call the kids that.
Yeah. And the lamp had a couple N-bombs dropped in it in the weirdest places.
N-bombs. Wow.
What is that for?
Y'all.
Yeah. So the principal, now, if you remember Vernon, he was kind of a threatening and imposing figure anyway. So these kids are just like, all right, well, we'll get out of here, old man, but don't think we're going to forget this. So as they are leaving, they spot Heather and recognize her as one of the girls that had stolen their car. So they basically hunt her down while she's in the gym alone. Remember, she is deaf and mute.
Oh, no.
And they grab her and then drag her off to the bathroom and brutally rape her and leave her for dead.
Oh, no.
It's fairly graphic scene.
Oh, my.
It's pretty fucking uncomfortable.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so as you may imagine, Brenda is down to kill anyone and everyone involved, but she doesn't put together that it's the Scars just yet, because they don't know that the Scars were on the school grounds. But at a local nightclub a couple nights later, and this is the shittiest set you have ever seen. This looks like it is somebody's living room that they have set up a kind of nightclub table and chair and then put a red or green gel on the light.
Oh, no.
Because it just, I was like, this is not a nightclub. This is somebody's home or garage or something. It's just awful. But they find out, well, the Scars and the Satins are in the same nightclub and a big, huge fight breaks out. And it's, this is where the movie really starts to cook because the girls are pulling knives out and all this shit. And after that, everybody, the cops show up and everybody scatters. But the Scars end up finding one of the girls in the Satins. And we get this stupid backstory throughout all this. She is pregnant and getting married. Yes, and still in high school. And it's like, I remember that is kind of a thing, but they're making a big deal out of this. They're all the Satins are, of course, are bridesmaids and shit like that. So one of the guys finds her and they capture her, this particular one that's pregnant, and they kidnap her and throw her off an overpass.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Wow.
Does she make it? Does the baby make it?
Do you know what an overpass is, Vanessa? No.
In my head, they're fine.
No, she does not make it. And that is, so Brenda, the rest of the Satins find this out, but it is also revealed then to them that the Scars are the ones who also raped Heather. Now, Heather is alive through all of this. She was left for dead, but she's in a hospital room. Not saying much, surprisingly.
She can't even point out who did
She
it.
doesn't have a lot to say on the situation. But now Brenda goes full on vigilante and starts hunting the scars down one by one. And I guess there's something that you might call foreshadowing in the very beginning where the Satins are wandering past a store and it has a crossbow in it. Because now Brenda's like, guess what? Crossbow seems like the most, the best way I could go around killing people or something. Gonna pass up guns, gonna pass up knives. Crossbow. You wouldn't need any proficiency to shoot one of these, right?
No. Or quick way to reload if you get in trouble.
Sure. So right here, it gets into pretty trashy and familiar territory, which I found super entertaining. She gets the crossbow and she kills one of the guys that way, and then another one gets a bear trap to the face. So that's
Jesus.
that was brutal, and I loved it. And then she has, of course, a big climactic battle with the big boss and kills him just as the police arrive. So then we get a little coda at the end with Brenda, who I would presume is facing murder charges of all these guys she's just killed because the cops have just pulled up. But she and Heather and their surviving friends are visiting Francine's grave. Francine is the one who was tossed off the overpass. And Brenda comments, "At least we set things right." And then to which one of the girls goes, "No, Brenda. You set things right."
Oh my God.
Roll credits. Holy shit. I loved this movie so much.
Wow. You said it's called Savage Street?
Savage Street.
It sounds like fucking savage.
It's so stupid. It's so bad. Little bit of trivia. Sherry Curry from The Runaways was originally cast as Brenda. I'm not sure why this did not work out. Especially since Linda Blair, who was cast, got a Razzie for Worst Actress.
Oh, dear. I mean...
Surprise.
I feel like it's a miscast. I mean, after watching Hell Night, like, she doesn't look very badass to me.
Well, she looks super badass in this. Her hair has got to be 9 inches tall.
It's all in there.
Yeah.
That round, puffy face is all
with
good
a
the giant
mohawk
hair.
is really...
Eric, you'll recognize this. The British Board of Film Classification demanded a total of 24 minutes worth of cuts to the film.
Holy shit.
At the time, the BBFC had a zero tolerance to sexual violence and the use of a crossbow.
Oh, no.
So they cut the rape scene out pretty much, and then the entire killing scene too. I'm just curious what this movie looks like.
Oh my God.
I get the removing rape scenes from a film, but a crossbow? What a strange choice.
I mean, anything that could be replicable by kids or whatever.
So, anybody getting killed in any movie.
Yes. That's why the BBFC sucked so hard for a while.
So the rape scene is pretty brutal. According to everyone involved, the rape scene was the toughest scene to film. Many of the actors pointed out in interviews that Leanna Quigley, who played the character being raped, was the most composed of the performers during that sequence.
Oh, sure.
Tom DeSimone was originally attached to direct. He directed Reform Schoolgirls, Hell Night, Angel 3, episodes of Freddy's Nightmare, Swamp Thing, Dark Justice. So he's kind of that kind of director.
Yeah.
But he quit after only a few days of filming. I could not find a reason why.
Oh.
This put the film on hold, prompting certain cast members to pursue other projects, such as Deborah Blee, whose character inexplicably disappears in the second half of the film.
Oh, Jesus.
So Danny Steinman was eventually hired as Damone's replacement. Streaming for free on Tubi, uncut, but with commercials. I say uncut because if you want to see a bunch of supposedly high school girls cavorting around in a shower scene, you certainly may. It looks very much like a bunch of late 20s women cavorting around in a shower, but it's whatever floats your boat.
Absolutely. Wow.
I got to say, this comes highly recommended.
Nice.
This is like as trashy as it gets. 1984, and just wow. So that makes it my choice for the next one, right?
What are we going to be watching?
Well, I know that comic book movies are a thing right now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Seems to me we've had a conversation about that very recently.
And so I'd like to pick comic book movies with the caveat it cannot be based on a Marvel comic or a DC comic.
Okay.
Nice.
So there are a lot of comic book movies out there, guys. Did you know that They Live is based on a comic?
See, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
So there's a lot to choose from there. It does not have to be a superhero film at all. Are we all on board with this?
Sounds good.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. That's what we're doing next
Cool.
week. This is the part where I say thank you so much to everybody who's participating
comfy butt
in the value for value model as I sit here luxuriating in my comfortable chair.
Hour
And
2 and not even, wincing in pain.
that's right.
Yeah, it's nice.
This has just been, wow. Thank you so much for everybody who's doing that and liking and sharing posts and writing reviews. All of that stuff means so much to us. We cannot thank you enough.
Yeah. And we are clumsy at promotion, self-promotion and stuff. So, come check out our Etsy page because we haven't done much talking about that.
That's
if you're
right.
interested, and take a look at that and we'll figure out how to get stuff out there. We're more interested in what we're doing here.
The one thing that I made a promise that I would show the underwear at the Thing podcast live at Crypticon, and I did not do that. However, for those of you who are lucky enough to be dining with us later, I dropped trowel and let everybody see my Strange Eons underwear.
I am shocked we did not get kicked out. I was like,
Vanessa,
oh no,
we would have been fine, but you were laughing so loud. I was like, hey, I'm trying to do something on the down low here.
There was a lot of vodka happening, and you were very nearby. It was just a lot to take in.
I can't remember. Were Brian and Gwen there yet?
Brian and Gwen. Gwen said she liked the underwear a lot.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
What is the name of our Etsy store?
Strange Eons Radio.
Okay, great.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of Strange Eons TV, I swear, but I don't know about radio. Magazine? I've heard of the magazine.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so that's it. We're coming back 1 week from today, and we're going to be talking about comic book movies that are not DC or Marvel. Our show is recorded somewhere high above Naval Station Everett at the nexus of all realities and is engineered and produced by Eric Morgret. Our theme music is Strange Eons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find Strange Eons Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever fine podcasts are found.
Kelly, get your eyes checked immediately. Do I have to be calling and scolding? How can you go to Crypticon and not see? I have been listening to the show now since I have YouTube. I enjoy it. The only time I get to hear your voice. Call your mom.